implicit denial. So when they reject the Christian worldview as being indispensable for human truth, reason, for intelligibility of anything, they're operating from an alternative worldview that they hold to either explicitly or implicitly. We then proceed to ask them questions in order for them to unpack this. We're applying the same criterion of belief that they use to dismiss the existence of God. And when we apply the criterion of belief that they use on the background information of what they're saying, they crash and burn, and they resort to either overt trolling or passive aggressive deception, lying, and evasion.
Are you an atheist, young scribe?
Yeah, I would like to believe I'm an atheist. I mean, after what he just said,
Okay.
I don't
What do you
know.
think the ground of all
But
being is then?
the what?
The ground of all being, the reason for why anything at all in the universe exists.
Um, I don't know why anything exists. It just exists,
Okay.
I guess. But
Okay.
I wanted to ask something about what the other guy said, because he
Mm-hmm.
said when you reject the idea, like they're coming from an alternate or different world view or something like this.
Yeah,
Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking
Yes.
you. That's why I'm asking you from the ground of all being from your side because you don't believe it's God. So you have to put something else in its place. What is it?
I think if I said nature, then you would just include that into God too. So
That
I don't
that's
think
that's
that's
an
saying.
that's an abstraction.
Hey, if you don't stop yelling out that window, oh my God.
You
I'm
got
back. What I
kids?
miss?
Well, you said that was an abstract view.
You say nature. Nature is an abstract term attempting to quantify two or more concrete things.
What's wrong with
Okay.
that?
Well, it's
Abstract
okay to
thing.
use that. It's okay to use it. Oh, you can, if you want to answer, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. Abstract things don't cause anything. Like the reason why anything at all exists, like the number seven doesn't create a universe. So
Right.
when you talk about abstractions, they don't cause things to be. Therefore, they cannot be constituted or stipulated to be the ground of all being.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Okay, so before we proceed, the standard and historical definition within the last couple of years is that atheism is that there are no gods. Are you using the standard definition?
No, I don't know of any what the standard definition says, but I
Yeah.
believe that, or this is my little. I haven't seen any proof of gods, and when I
Okay.
look at
All
these
right.
certain religions, they say, "Hey, this is the God," and you look at other religions, they say, "Hey, this is the God." And it's like, yeah, if y'all both don't agree that y'all gods are the same gods, then it's too many gods, right? And then there's no proof of any of these gods other than people's beliefs, and
Okay.
you can't
Okay.
take that away from
Is
somebody.
is okay. So you want proof in order to believe in the God world, where there's a supreme being, a creator, who then creates all things that are not himself that derive and depend upon him, and we can call that the God world. You want proof of that, right?
Yeah, that would make me comfortable with the idea. Yeah,
Okay. So do you believe right now in the not God world?
that the non-God world.
The not God world.
No, I
That
just think it's just the
all things.
world.
No. Listen. There's no neutral position. Either you are operating from the God world or the not God world, whether you realize it or not, whether you admit it or not. Okay? Either you will believe that all facts, individually and collectively, ultimately derive from God, who is the absolute, the ultimate, or you believe that facts are just simply standalone without the necessity of deriving from God. Okay? So your facts and my facts will either be encompassed, if you will,
Hmm.
either by God as their creator or not. And that's the not God world. So you
Okay.
reject the God
Okay.
world, so you're operating from the not God world. So you want proof.
Got
When
you.
you say, I want proof for God, that's the same thing as the God world,
Yeah. So yeah.
right?
Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I don't believe that there is a God world. So
Good.
I
Okay.
guess I
Okay.
would
Okay.
reject
So
that.
you want proof for the God world, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Good, good. Now, since you've adopted the not God world rather than the God world, and you ask for proof, what is the proof of the not God world?
Hold on, what do you mean adopted?
Sir, you're either operating from the God world or the not God world. I happen to believe in God, so I've adopted the God world. I've accepted it. I believe it. I'm reasoning from that position.
So like
Okay?
you don't believe you was born into that? Like what do you mean adopted though?
When I say adopted, I'm not using it in the sense of a legal adoption of a parent-child relationship. I'm saying I have taken this worldview as my own. I take it
Okay,
to be real, to be actual, that it is the ultimate truth.
okay. I guess I would just
Okay?
say I wouldn't know anything of the other world, so
Okay.
this is the
Okay.
only
No,
world I
no,
know about.
sir, listen to me. When you invoke ice cream cones or grass blowing in the wind, okay, you will be invoking that either with reference that it is in the God world or not. So when you
No,
invoke grass
I
blowing in
hear
the
what
wind,
you're saying.
okay,
I'm just saying I have no reference points to the other world. I don't
okay,
get what you're saying.
okay. When you invoke grass blowing in the wind, which world are you speaking that from? The God world or not?
Again, I don't know of any God world. I only know of this world.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Focus, sir. Okay. Either you're going to invoke ice cream or grass blowing in the wind, explicitly or implicitly, that it resides within the God world, or not. So when you talk about grass blowing in the wind, do you do so that it emanates from the God world?
No.
Right. So your facts when you invoke them are out of the not God world. You don't
Okay,
have
I
the
see from
luxury.
your perspective, I definitely see what you're talking
No,
about.
it's from anybody's perspective.
No, it's not because you can't
no,
tell somebody else
It's
what
a
their
true
perspective
dichotomy,
is.
sir.
no.
He,
You're not understanding. The issue
you
is
gotta
my
explain to
perspective.
him the true
My pers.
dichotomy, Darth.
Yeah, yeah. My
Okay,
perspective is not.
okay,
I'm trying to
just
explain it to you.
no, no,
Okay,
I'm trying to understand, but can we give somebody else a chance to maybe somebody else that understands what he is trying
so,
to say to me can explain it in
sir,
a better
sir,
way.
listen to me. Either you believe in the God world, or you will operate from the not God world. It's one or the other. There's not another alternative.
There's no such thing of the God world though, from my reference.
Good.
That's what I'm telling you.
That's good.
Then you are invoking directly or indirectly, explicitly or implicitly, the not God world.
What he's
Okay,
Okay.
for the
saying to
sake of
you,
your, hold on, for the sake of argument,
hold, wait, wait,
let's.
wait, young scribe,
I'm in the not God world, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's saying that you are making sense of all your facts from a world to where there's no God. That's the not God world, sir.
Okay,
Either
I'm in that world. Okay,
it. Okay. All right.
let's go
Yeah.
forward.
This shouldn't be considered controversial. Okay. Now you're operating in a world where there are facts that you believe do not necessitate referencing the necessity of God. Okay. Now that is the not God world, right? So you want proof for the God world. Now, what is the proof that you're operating from for the not God world?
You said what is the proof that there is no God? Is what
Yeah,
you're asking me?
you require proof for a model of reality. You require
Okay.
proof for the God world, and so I can only assume that you're not being arbitrary in your criterion. So, do you have proof for the not God world?
Unless you are
Uh,
being arbitrary. Are you being arbitrary?
I hope I'm not. I haven't seen any proof for the existence of God.
Okay. You not
So
you listen,
I would
sir.
say that the
You need to focus. Do
okay, you
you
need to
have
let can I
proof?
finish?
No, you may not, because I've asked the same question 5 or 6 times and you haven't been answering it. I'm asking you, do you
You
have
asked me what is
proof?
the proof
Okay,
that there is
would
no
you? Okay,
God.
sir, listen to me. I've had to ask the same question 5 or 6 times. Now you're over
But you
talking.
asked. I'm
Okay,
saying you asking the
goodbye.
same thing. I know what you're saying.
Goodbye. listen. Goodbye. Back to the audience he goes. Okay. It never fails.
So why, man? Why? Why is it so difficult?
This is the same thing that they were doing. He was just doing it a little bit more cordially. He wasn't, how shall I put this? He wasn't as sophisticated in practicing the dodge, but he was nonetheless
All right.
doing the dodge. He was nonetheless
Could you
doing the dodge.
could you take a break momentarily, Darth? Let me explain it to him.
It was
Oh,
explained to him. I don't mind granting that. I'll be more than happy to do it. But you see, the issue was not that he didn't understand. He just didn't want to play by the rules.
well, let's find that out. Maybe that's the case, and I think you're right. But let's find out. So let's explain it this way. Do you believe that all the facts in your experience make sense without any God, sir?
Can I speak? You talking to me?
Yeah, this is a question to you. Yeah.
Okay, you said does the world make sense without a God?
Yeah. Do you believe all the facts that you are aware of in your basic experience make sense without any God whatsoever? Do you believe that?
Yes.
So, what proof do you have that such a world exists? That the facts make sense without God? What proof do you have of that?
We live in this world now.
Just a
That doesn't.
reassertion of the same
That's not
point.
What?
that's not an
Just
answer.
because you think we're living in that world doesn't establish it. You're gonna have to defend it, not just assert it.
Okay,
Will you
so
accept it if
okay.
we just assert that we're in a God world?
Well, that's your opinion. I ain't got no choice but
Well,
to
you said
accept
the
it.
same thing,
Dude,
though.
do you know how to focus?
You
But you're
said the same.
asking me, but I'm saying I never went in and said that you guys are wrong. You're pressing
Hey, hey,
forward to
hey,
me.
hey,
You
sir,
don't like what I'm
sir.
saying.
Hey, sir.
And this dude
I
has some
said to
type
you,
of weird energy
I said,
going on.
okay, you know what? You know what? Give me one more snide response, and I won't just move you to the audience. I'll kick you out of the room. I said to you, do you know how to
Bro,
focus?
relax. I
Every
don't know who you
time,
think you are,
okay,
but
all right,
relax.
Yeah,
goodbye. Okay, we got another one. Okay, see, same old obfuscation, playing dumb, dodging, delaying. You ask a direct question, it's like, and then they give an answer to the question we didn't ask. Okay.
Yeah, I,
Damage control mode.
yeah. I
We
think
have
I
we have a
explained that in such a way to where he could not get around it.
he was purposely being deceptive and evasive. He just wasn't as skilled as the other miscreants were.
Well, he looked at his mag and he saw it was empty, and so he's like, "Uh oh, what am I gonna do? Got to try to talk my way
Yeah.
out of this one."
Yeah, it's called bluffing.
I'm not saying you guys are wrong. No, the point is you provided, or rather, you required proof of the God world. But when you believe that facts make sense
You mean
without the
he,
need of God, you don't
you
provide any proof of that world at all.
You mean to tell me he didn't understand that he was requiring proof for the God world, and in his rejection of the God world, he was holding to the not God world. I said, well, what's the proof of that? He realized he didn't have anything, so he was playing dumb.
Well, first he tried to just reassert it. He said, "Well, we're in that
Yeah.
world."
Yeah,
Well, that was
exactly.
later. That was
That
later.
was not
That
a
was
proof at
later.
all.
No, but that was at the latter end there. Okay, earlier on, he was just playing dumb. See, this is one of their strategies. They play dumb, and then they just start talking, moving their mouth, segueing away from the question. Okay, segue is their favorite mode of transportation. It's their favorite mode of prevarication.
yeah, Darth. I see this so much times. It's like, okay, it's like they can't. I'm just gonna say they're not very philosophically bright. So it's like,
By the way, the Marvel movie studios is coming out with a new line of nefarious superheroes, and they all have various powers of deception, lying, obfuscating, okay, playing dumb as their superpowers, and it's going to be called the prevaricators. Okay, coming to a theater near you soon.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah, we got the Avengers and we have the Prevaricators.
I'd love to see that plain dumb superpower in action.
Yeah.
Not really sure how it's going to work.
That's going to be like the core of the team right there.
Did I not break it down into the simplest of terms? You've got the God world, the not God world. You're asking for proof of the God world. You go, yeah, that's right. Good. Do you have proof for the not God world? All of a sudden, he's struck, semi-conscious with an epileptic fit. What are you talking about?
It never amazes me, Darth, because when they say proof, my mind always thinks, okay, what kind of proof are they asking? Because if you just say proof, if they're gonna
You
be
see, they're not thinking in terms of the creator-creature distinction. Okay, they're trying to carry on the dialectic with us as though God were just an unembodied mind who was unimaginably powerful, right, and knowledgeable, and it's going to get you if you don't love him, right? But they're not engaging with us in terms of the creator creature distinction to whatever degree they understand that conception. So that's why they think they're at liberty just to say, well, we're just in the world we're in. See, this is what Graham Oppy does. This is what Graham Oppy tried with me.
You got
There's
books on the
God in the
shelf.
natural world. Yeah, there's the God in the natural world, and there's the natural world, right?
Darth, like I like how Greg Bonson, where it's like he mentioned in one of his lectures, like if this is the best that the universities and the colleges do, it's sad. Like it's like it this is and and I like how Bonson
As
just yeah.
as Greg Bonson said famously, he said the atheists, they're not sending their best.
No, no. Do you see the pattern of behavior? You know, it's like when you go into the donut shop. You go into Dunkin' Donuts or whatever your favorite bakery is, and they got chocolate covered donuts, vanilla colored donuts. They got apple fritters. All it comes down to is flour and water and sugar. Okay. And what these people are all the same, although they have different frostings on them. They're all engaged in dodging, evading, prevaricating, making stuff up, okay, playing dumb. I especially love it when they go to the quantum realm, right? Maybe they've been spending too much time watching Ant-Man.
Quantum mechanics, that again.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny how they say quantum mechanics, but then they can't explain it. Oh, I don't know. It's just, and then they repeat the same thing, quantum mechanics, and it's
No,
like,
they look. They pull this on people who are not experienced in dealing atheists, you know, and it's like, look at the little shiny thing in the corner over here. But we know that little game of misdirection. Okay.
yeah, if they try to do that with, yeah, they're just doing what, and I appreciate how Bonson just deal with atheists because they always do arbitrary, inconsistent consequences and the precondition of, and then they always because they're gonna have to cough up a worldview where all of that makes sense in their worldview, and when they can't do it, they start resorting to, uh, um, yeah, dodging, evading, they do all that stuff because they don't want to be challenged, or they don't want to uh, uh, deep think uh, think things deeply in their worldview on how it makes sense. Where it's not arbitrary, it's not
Yeah.
inconsistent. Where
Yeah.
I was just trying to flesh it out in such a precise a way that he couldn't find a way to squirm out of it.
Okay. Was it clear to you by the end that he was being deceptive? He started off pretending like he was sincere and not understanding certain things and wanted some answers. And halfway through and toward the end, it was clear he's dodging, obfuscating, prevaricating.
Well, he tried to veer from it, knowing the disastrous implications and the catastrophic implications by saying, "I'm not saying you guys are wrong,"
Yeah.
because he tried to revert back into a claim of
Yeah.
just sort of a neutral claim or just a psychological belief possession rather than a philosophical claim.
Have you ever guys seen the video when the police officer stopped these people for driving and asked for a driver's license and registration, and they claim to be sovereign citizens? Have you ever seen those videos?
Yeah, those videos are too funny.
Right.
Wild.
And this is what we're dealing with. When you ask, simple, clear, questions, we just get one pattern of deception after another.
And Darth, and the issue unbelievers have too is because they have a dialectic tension. Because if they want to say how they know, like they want to be an
Yeah,
empiricist and then they be a rationalist,
exactly.
like they're jumping back
That's
forth. It just bounces and nails it, and I'm starting
yeah.
to see.
I mean,
I,
I
I
said to him, "There's the God world, the not God world. You want proof for the God world? Do you have proof for the not God world?" And it's like, what? What are you talking about?
yeah,
What?
that actually brings me to the question that I asked earlier about when we were trying to state the basis of foundation of giving us the factual information. So if they can't come to a compromise of a foundation of why their non-God world exists, how do we do we keep them on that foundation, or how do we
And the point
I
is
would
to show
say
they don't have a basis to believe in
right,
the not
right.
Yeah,
God world.
Right. So I
they
know
either
they're
they
going to try to
either
go
they.
off in different tangents or bring
That's
up
right.
different variables to try to confuse the
That's
main
right.
conversation. But how
They either
do we hold them
they
to that
either have.
tension of that non-foundation in that sense?
Well, yeah, but the point is they continue to lie and
Yeah, that's
prevaricate.
true. That's
They
true.
either have to admit defeat in the face of the revelation of God, because they they're bitter clingers to their would be autonomy because they're hostile toward God. They either have to admit defeat,
Bitter
or they're
clingers.
going bitter clinger, yes,
Yep.
or they're just going to engage in
What
some form of verbal deception.
one might say they're a basket of deplorables.
The basket of deplorables. Yeah.
Another golden egg appeared
But I'm
to
sure
you.
some of them are good people.
James, did you have a question?
I'm just up here because I think the echo chamber is kind of boring and funny.
Well, good.
It's not an echo chamber, sir. That's an unfair characterization. We're
Yeah,
not like the
it's a
atheist
foot rubbing
rooms.
session, dude. It's a back patting session.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah,
It's
We
not
won't
an
be
it's
engaging
not
full
an
in
body
echo
with
chamber.
each
massage.
other.
But the thing is, we've had
Do
atheists on here all night before you even came in here.
do not we request all the time that we have
Well,
thoughtful, intelligent adult opposition, sir?
we're glad you're here, sir, to set us straight.
Yeah, I guess I hear you request that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you believe in God?
We've had this conversation before, Darth.
That's not an answer to my question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
See,
say
you
I
see,
don't know.
they can't help themselves. You ask a question, and it's dodge, 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 evade, evade, evade.
How are you going to make it a
Hey,
non-echo chamber if you
you
don't
too. Hey,
Well, I
wait a
just
minute.
want
dispute
you to
Listen,
run
anything?
the dialogue. I
there,
just want you to run the dialogue
there's
with me
yeah,
again.
sir. I'm asking you. Do you believe in God?
I don't
You
know.
you don't want this to be an echo chamber. So when I
Yeah, it's
ask
not
you
anymore. I'm
when
here.
I'm talking to you, so this isn't an echo chamber, you immediately resort to evasion.
And not even
I
that, he's
genuinely don't have
echo
a yes or no. I
chambering
don't have
other
a yes or no
atheists.
answer to that question.
Yeah. Okay.
He's echo
So
chambering other
are
atheists'
you making the
answers.
agnostic claim?
So ridiculous.
Yeah,
Are
you're
you
gonna have to.
claiming?
because you've talked to me about this agnosticism before, and I don't understand how you can't be agnostic. So we're gonna have to run
Okay,
this
well,
dialogue
I think
again.
you're lying because when I explain it, I'm very, very clear. Okay.
You might think
Now,
you're clear, but I just don't
okay,
understand it.
so if we misconceptualize God, okay, in a way that is metaphysically and philosophically less than accurate, okay, then you could be neutral. You can feign or claim neutrality. But when we are talking about God, who is characterized as the absolute, the
Right.
ultimate, from which all things derive and depend, this is definitional. Such an entity as defined, one cannot legitimately claim neutrality toward. Okay? Do I need to elaborate further?
Yeah, you might. I mean, so I've asked you
Okay, right.
why is that
So
not just
now,
defining God
so
into
okay,
existence?
I'm
But
not talking
that's a
about.
tangential
Okay,
issue.
I'm not
So
talking about defining God into existence right now. What we were just talking about. Notice the bait and switch. Notice that here's another example of their deceptive
well, you
moves
just
and the
made the
segue.
statement God
You
as
see,
defined.
no, listen to me. Yeah, what you're now doing is another bait and switch. Okay, I did not define God into existence. I defined God for the purposes of the conversation to explain why neutrality toward the word God as defined that way is not viable. There was no defining God into existence there.
And he's
Are
just
you
giving you
trying
some.
to are you trying to suggest right now that what you heard come out of my mouth while I was talking with you, that I was in any way a reasonable person would conclude that I was defining God into existence?
That's the way I interpret it because sometimes I don't really understand.
Goodbye,
Oh,
goodbye, another liar. Wow, these people are pathological liars.
Yeah,
Wow.
we give a definition for
Wow,
us to chew
what a
on to have a
pathological liar.
conversation. We give
Wow.
us a yeah. We give
Look,
a definition for us to chew on to have a conversation.
yep,
Now, giving specific definitions for things is defining things into existence.
right.
This is
Now,
insane.
we were discussing the viability of agnosticism in virtue of God being defined as the ground of all being. He then tried to bait and switch and just saying, well, you're defining God into existence. Now, did anybody in this room or anybody in the audience hear me attempt to define God into existence?
No, you're trying to have a conversation, but he just wants to
Okay,
play.
Well, if he
now,
wants to play that
look,
stupid game, if he disagrees with it, he's defining God out of existence. Dude, this is
yeah, unless he's brain damaged or a registered Democrat, then he was purposely being deceptive. This is one of their little tricks that they play. Okay, you see the pattern of behavior. You see the deception. And they want to go. Darth calls anybody a liar that he disagrees with. No, I call people liars when they deserve to be called liars. When it's abundantly clear that they're purposely being deceptive.
Yeah, I would have to say
Right?
it's purposely now because there's no way. Because if they're in this room constantly hearing this, and they say, "Oh, like it's," yeah, I think it's purposely. It's just you can't have an honest. You can't go. The thing is, when they're challenged, they just they
Now,
don't.
notice when we started, I said, "Do you believe in God?" And then he goes, "I don't know." I didn't ask you what you know. I said, "Do you have a belief in God?"
you, you,
An agnostic should say, "No, I don't have a belief in God, and I don't have a belief that God does not exist." That
you
that's
know
that's what would comport with the agnostic claim. Not
you
saying that's
notice when
legitimate.
you notice when they say that you can't define God into existence, how they're implicitly defining neutrality into existence.
I know. Look, they are shamelessly deceptive, shameless,
They're
and it's
implicitly
disgusting.
defining neutrality into
Right,
existence
right,
because
right. Mm-hmm.
that's perfectly legitimate.
And we can't gonna just lie, prevaricate, and do all this games and dance around and jump
Why?
everywhere. You just
And who says whatever that even means that you cannot define God into existence? Who says you can't do that? What authority is he standing on to make that?
Imagine, imagine we go into their enclaves, their rat's nests, and we were to lie, dodge, and evade, 10% of what they do. They would be screaming, "You're being dishonest! You're being dishonest!" And yet they laugh, they snicker, and they slap each other on the back when they come in here and they troll and they purposely engage in dishonesty. Yet these are the same people who decry other Christians as being dishonest.
they're the ones.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Why? Mark Falto, ask him why something else couldn't be what is ultimate.
And they
Because when we're talking about what is ultimate, it will have to possess what is necessary for rationality and intelligibility. And if we're talking about any particular thing that lacks the essential properties for rationality and intelligibility,
Mm-hmm.
hence it cannot be ultimate.
Yeah. We see this every single day. We've seen it for years. We're still seeing it. We'll see it tomorrow. Okay. They will start off transparently, but then when the questions get simplified and more refined, then they resort to one or more verbal techniques of deception and evasion. Like that, like the other guy with the thyroid picture there. You know, with the bug eyes. He started playing dumb.
they want
You want
the
proof? You want
surface
proof
level.
for the God world? Yeah, I want proof. I could. Good. Do you have proof for the not God world? I'm like, well, what are you talking about?
They they it's fascinating
That
because they're purposely doing this themselves. Oh, let's
guy
see.
says it's an
You
echo
know,
chamber. Oh, it's an echo chamber.
it doesn't have to be. If they just stop lying about stuff. We've had atheists in here all night. But when you keep on lying about it, when you keep wanting to play these little stupid games and these rhetorical ploys, you're not going to last long in here.
Yeah. See,
Oh no, but
every
don't
single
don't
one of
do
them.
that, guys. I've been enabled my whole life. I couldn't stand not being enabled even more.
I love it. You're defining God into existence. So to smoke them out, would any reasonable person listening to me interact with you conclude from what I said that I was defining God into existence?
No, not only
And then
not
he
only is that
outright
not the
then he
case,
then he outright lies about that.
not only is that not the case, but they're implicitly relying on the fact that neutrality merely is the state of existence before any other analysis is done. That's the implicit assertion. You cannot state that God exists or doesn't exist. It's
Neutrality,
just neutrality.
yeah, neutrality itself is a form of deception. They know they're not neutral. They
Yeah,
know.
there is no such
Okay.
thing as neutrality.
Try
Yeah.
to neutralize because I was thinking about the sophistry and it's like they will ask questions, but this is to neutralize you where you you're like kind of paralyzed. So it's like you can't advance further or you can't seem to go further because they'll try to uh be a sophist like Socrates ways like of dialogue. So you just neutralize them. And I think this is where if you don't uh, step on the gas or you don't be persistent, then they'll just keep neutralizing you. Where this is why it's very important. You just when you challenge them, you have to be committed to. You can't because if you start being neutral, then it's just yeah. But yeah, it's
They're just trying to undermine the Christian presentation of tag. That's all they're trying to do. They don't have an actual positive worldview philosophy which they can defend rationally. So I think
You
all
know,
they can
yeah.
do is try to undermine our presentation.
You know what I don't like is the apologetic approach that presents itself as I'm going to be thoughtful, dignified, I'm going to be educational about this. And as the atheists continue to lie to their face, they just ignore the fact. They pay no attention to the fact that they're lying and just pretend like they're being academic when they're just lying. Okay?
Yeah, it's like asking questions, but it's in a deceptive way because it's like Socrates would be like, "Oh, what is goodness? What is justice?" But this is a way to uh, s- uh this is a way to just uh question to it, but it's like it's a trick. It's just a it's just sophist. It's just, and these are not genuine questions. These are like, because the atheists would just pull that, and
All this
it's
mess is just pseudo intellectual smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. And they proliferate, on Discord and on Clubhouse. And we have a lot of Christians who pretend like they're just not being lied to over and over and over again. I'm not saying we should be quick to accuse these people of lying, but it becomes very obvious when you ask the right sort of questions. You
yeah.
see, when you're dealing with them apologetically, if you just pretend like your interlocutor is just merely making intellectual and academic disagreements with you, that's not what's going on here.
Darth, is like, if you want to be a sophist, go, uh, go to the school of sophistry and just learn. And this is what they do. They'll just be sophists every time, and it's like, but it's in a deceptive way. It's not like a genuine type. It's more like it this
It's
Look,
an art.
the
It's an
last four
art, man.
people that we talked to, each one of them lied. Okay, were lying in one form or another. They were lying. They weren't just intellectually and academically disagreeing. They were lying.
funny they do it with God, because they'll just try to undermine you about uh, uh anything that you quote
If
know
they
everything.
acknowledge, if they acknowledge the utter absurdity of their position, that they're in a state of chaos, rather than they're in a world that is created and under the control of the lordship of Jesus, then they're not going to be in a position to verbalize opposition to the gospel, are they?
No, that's why
Okay?
we transcendental, Darth, because it's above our knowledge. And uh, so it's strange how sophists are like, just they'll be like, well, how do you know? And how,
The guy,
and then how
the
that
guy
person,
was advancing solipsism, and then he starts saying "we." Who's we?
he thinks that no one.
Yeah, he couldn't account for weight. He couldn't even account for the eye.
The issue is when you start saying, in their mind, they think that if you say, "Oh, like this is the only,"
Don't. How about
um,
how
yeah,
about Null Hypatheist when he was doing the parody of the Christian worldview,
All that
right?
revelation stuff with space
Yeah,
time.
and you see how I smoked him out? I said, what lies beyond the visible horizon on the universe in any direction? I don't know. Well, then you're not in a position to make a universal statement, are you?
it's like, how has he received revelation? Like, either it's
Look,
gonna be
Yeah,
not.
he's lying.
impersonal revelation. It's
Yeah.
just he's just throwing a bunch of words together. Like he was just doing an amalgamation of abstract terms.
It's a parody. No, it's a parody of the Christian worldview.
It's the body double. technique.
Yeah,
It's a
Pretty
worldview
much.
body
Yeah,
double.
the
no, it's no,
worldview
it's
body.
worse. No,
Yeah.
it's worse. No, it's worse than that.
And it's
The
go ahead.
guy takes us. The guy takes us for fools. He wasn't even doing a worldview body double. He was doing a materialistic parody of the Christian worldview. So how did the universe reveal to you the uniformity of nature?
Yeah, either
You
mind
think he
them.
could have? You think he could have
He
answered
just
that question?
he just thinks piling on a bunch of abstractions is actually making a
Well,
case.
Darth, I actually disagree. I think he is doing a worldview body double, and he recognizes that the Christian worldview provides the grounds for intelligibility. And so he when he creates this body double, he slaps some of the Christian worldview attributes onto it because he knows that it will be more
Yeah.
Drag
difficult to
out.
rebut. So
No, I could agree. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
hell
Well,
to Christianity, to God when he does
well,
that.
it's what Bonson and
Oh, I love.
Till say. They're operating off of borrowed capital.
He's
Yeah.
just borrowing a lot more. He's really going into
It's
debt.
well, it's a little bit of a both. It's a worldview body double as well as a parody. So it's a bit of both if you
It's
look at it.
pointless to talk to people who do that though, because even if you rebut their body double, they'll just say, "Ah, well, I didn't believe that anyway."
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
no biggie.
I was just throwing that out to see what you would say. See, they lie.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, Darth, and everybody is like either the mind of man or the mind of God, and I've been listening to Boston and taking it a lot, and because it's like how we know is because God reveals it- um how our epistemology, how we know things and all that stuff. So it's like I remember Darth, like a few months ago, there's a guy that would say, "Oh, it's like I'll put my words, it's like it's stupid or something." It's like, well, you know, that's how we know in our Christian worldview, but how do you know? And it's like but he never answered, or he just
Don't you
like,
understand? Nature revealed it to him.
Yeah. And
Well,
they
when they do that, I'm pretty sure that might be just a contradiction, right? A non-communicative entity communicated to them.
No. They'll just say, well, it reveals it to me. I don't know how. It just does. This is what Tyler said to Cy-Ten Brugengate after the debate between Cy-Ten Brugengate and Matt the Obliviator.
yeah,
I
because
think the host. I think the host of the after debate was David Smalley. I think.
it's just so hilarious that they have to put in a potential worldview that they don't believe in because they know their worldview doesn't do the job. So the body double worldview has to take the fall to, and
They'll
the
say
body
anything
double has to,
to
yeah,
stall
the
God's
body,
delay.
yeah, the body double has to take the fall, right? Because they know they can't actually use their own ammunition to do the job.
They want to sit there
Well,
and say this is an echo chamber. No, it's not an echo chamber. It's just that the other side's not showing up.
what
Okay.
happened to that guy, by the way? I had to go. I'm cooking
He
something. I had to leave for.
he was
Did he
warned
choke?
about he was warned about not lying. He decided he wanted to outright lie, so he was kicked.
Oh man, I was hoping this time we'd have an atheist who could rebut God's wisdom.
I you know what? I was very reasonable. Okay, I let him know what my standards are, and then I said, would any reasonable person conclude that when I was giving a definition for God in the discussion as to whether agnosticism can be neutral towards such a definition, he then started to accuse me of defining God into existence. And I said, would any reasonable person conclude that I was defining God into existence? And
I
he
swear
said
they have like
yes.
an automated program set up the second they hear the word definition. They just
Yeah.
say
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
defining. That's why I told you you got to stop using the word definition. Just say I'm describing a concept.
Yeah. Well, then they'll just come up with another flow chart.
I know.
it's funny, Darth, because I was reading the Boston's Christian Antithesis. I'm still reading it, and the thing is, they know science, like epistemology and the method, but how do they know that? Are they gonna say, "Oh, science"? we know science because we know science because science like it's that's a presupposition. So, but, but see, it's funny. It's just
Look,
that
if they don't lie, if they don't resort to some aspect of verbal deception, then it's over. If the right questions are asked.
But how they reason this crap is just downright ridiculous. Because how in the world are you supposed to give any definition without them trying to construe this defining something to existence?
They're not.
So
They're just lying when they say you're doing that. They just don't want to
yeah,
talk about it.
yeah, you can literally give any definition for anything and say you're defining it into existence. You can literally give a definition for a pixie or a unicorn, and they'll just say you're defining it into existence. This is how stupid this crap is. So
And you know what?
giving
They
definitions
laugh
is
about it.
defining them into existence.
Yeah.
You can do that crap for anything, not just how you flushed out the God definition, but they know they don't answer that way for any definition for anything else. But when it comes to defining God, you're defining him into existence. And like you said, Parakeet, they're just lying. They don't do this for
Well,
any other
when
definition whatsoever at all.
when they don't accept the definition, what they're doing is they're just refusing to talk about the concept. So they're just saying, I don't want to talk to you about that. I refuse to
Yep,
talk about that subject.
exactly.
Mark Falto, when you say, ask him why something else could be what is ultimate, what do you mean? Is he even still here?
Because we verified what is ultimate,
Yeah.
or it has been verified, I should say.
I
No,
don't think
because
Mark is still here. No, he's not.
if you invoke what the ultimate is and it doesn't have the character or property set of the God of the Bible is, then there's no way to instantiate the ultimate. That's why we have clowns like Null Hypatheist who just says, well, the time space continuum revealed itself. So what is that? When I ask him, what is it that concretely unifies all of the particulars? Well, time space. Well,
Did he
how's
ever
that
tell you
work?
what the nature of this revelation is?
No, he just says it makes us know. Look, he's just making it up. He's
yeah.
shameless about this shtick. They're shameless. I mean, what do they take us for? Fools?
Well, the thing is when he's lying that blatantly, it's almost like any further discussion is pointless because he'll just lie about everything.
Exactly.
So
If
it's
you're lying
almost.
now, there's no reason to believe he won't lie later.
Here he comes in, he gets caught lying multiple times, and the guy has the brass balls to say, this is just an echo chamber.
And how is that even coherent with the time and space? So does everything in time and okay, please help us. Please unpack that.
That's
How
what
does it?
heaven's.
Time and space doesn't exist, bro.
That's what heaven's going to be, a big old echo chamber.
Yep.
You know, when he talks about space, I mean, is this something that's a concrete one, or is it an abstract one? He's reifying abstractions.
Oh, did he tell you he knows it's eternal because of its structure? Or who was it that said that?
Oh,
Leophilius said that, right?
yeah, that was the
Theophilus,
unsufferable.
yeah.
That was that was
What
the
did he say was
unsufferable.
eternal? Quantum states or something? What was he talking about?
Look, he
And he said
actually
he knows it's
stated
eternal from its structure.
he stated
I remember
categorically
that.
That was a good one.
he stated categorically on a blog where he was with a friendly inquirer that materialism is not something that you can ultimately defend. Okay, he
I
categorically
should
stated this.
I
Then,
should have pitched
yeah,
in. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and then when I spoke with him, when I said to him, "How is it that God doesn't exist?" Because he said, "Because materialism is true." I go, "Okay. How is it that how do you demonstrate that materialism is true and there is no ultimate mind that is the source of all contingency?" He says, "Well, we can study the structure of things at its fundamental level." They don't even know what's fundamental. Okay,
Just
I should
more
have
just
pitched in
making
when he
crap
said
up
that.
as you go.
they're speculating. Watch the lecture by David Tahn on YouTube, who is a British. I believe he's a physicist, and I don't think he believes in God. He might be an atheist. And he ends up his lecture saying, "Well, this is what we think is at the root of everything is fluctuating quantum energy." But he wasn't dogmatic in saying this definitely is. Leo Filius was just making this crap up. Look, this is what they do. They lie because if they don't lie, they're going to realize that they come up empty-handed, right? But sometimes, if they have a reputation to protect, they're not so stupid as to outright lie, like Lawrence Krauss. When he first said, we don't need God, we can explain everything to the laws of nature. But then when I asked him, what is it that's fundamental, foundational, and institutes whatever is, can be, and cannot be? And he goes, I don't know. Why does it even matter? He wouldn't be so stupid as to make a statement like Leo Filius did because he has a reputation to protect.
Oh, that's what you think, Darth. But I'm looking up a clip I saw just now, a little while ago. When did you talk to Lawrence Krauss, by the way? What year was it?
It's less than 2 years ago. It could be a year and a half ago.
Well, I saw a clip of him from Joe Rogan, and I guess it was up like 4 years ago or 5. I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah.
He makes an assertion as to what's eternal in it, I believe.
Oh, I would love to have a timestamp on that.
Xfinity customers join Xfinity Rewards and get an early access code to play the open beta. Early access begins September 16th, first on PlayStation. Visit Xfinity.com/rewards.
You know what's how
Okay.
not one atheist could tell us all night what the ground of all being was. Not one could do it.
No. Okay, I'm watching BattleBots. Is it going to be Endgame or is it going to be Witch Doctor? Any BattleBots fans here?
What's that? I don't know.
What's BattleBots? You don't know?
Yeah,
Get
I
out of
like it. I haven't
here!
watched it
Get
in a
out
while
of
though.
here!
No,
These
I can't make
these are these. I hesitate to call them robots. They're just these mechanical devices on wheels, and they usually have some type of impeller or propeller that's a weapon, and you're trying to disable the other
Oh, I
robot.
know that show. I
I
know
Yeah,
that.
actually I actually
Grew up
yeah,
watching
competed.
that with
I
Dad.
actually competed in that in high school. Actually, matter of fact,
yeah.
we built one in
Cool,
our high school.
cool.
see.
I remember when it was originally on, the robots were not that interesting, but as they got better, people with greater skills building these bots made some really amazing. And now it's quite interesting now when you see these things. These things weigh up about 250 pounds, and they go after each other. But what's interesting is some of these bots that are really good, and you think that they're invincible, they're not. You know,
None of them are.
once you no, all you have to do is just get caught at the wrong time, and you're done.
Interesting.
Like there was one bot called Tombstone that was like everybody thought was undefeatable, but then people, because he had this wicked blade that would just destroy everything, and then people realized, okay, we just have to build a strong enough frontal shield, and that's how they started defeating. It's fascinating.
Hey, Darth, I wanted to see if you could explain something to me. You said
All right, but
something a little
you
while
got to
ago.
speak loud. You got to speak louder.
You can't hear me? Is
Yeah,
it loud enough?
yeah, it's kind of weak, but go ahead. Here, let me adjust the audio settings here.
So, little while ago, you told that guy that unless he could see beyond the natural universe, he had no basis to make a universal claim. Something along those lines. I was
Yeah,
sitting here trying to think about
yeah. I
what you
said
meant by
what
that. Could you
I
kind
said
of
what I said what lies beyond the visible horizon of the universe. Okay. Well, he go, I don't know. Okay. Well, if you don't know, how do you know that there's just a singular universe? You see, he was caught lying. The guy was a pathological liar. He was caught lying, and even when caught lying, he wouldn't admit that he was lying.
yeah, I missed most of that conversation. When I dropped
Right.
in there, you were talking to some guy who said you had weird energy. And I had to,
What?
when I walked in, you were talking to some dude. He was like, "Yeah, you got some weird energy or something." But my app wasn't working.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
update it. I have
Here's
no
here's a
idea.
guy here's a guy who says the time space continuum is all there is, and it revealed itself to him, right? But then when I ask him what lies behind the visible horizon in any direction of the universe, well, I don't know. Oops.
To be honest, Mark,
Anytime I hear the
go ahead,
time
Ty.
space continuum, it's probably, I always think of Back to the Future because I think that was a kid, that was the first time I ever heard that concept put forward. Flux capacitor.
Yeah.
Good movie.
All right, I predict it's going to be Endgame over Witch Doctor. This is it, folks. It's robot fighting time.
Mm.
See, this is why we don't have a regular visitation by the mature-minded, intelligent-minded atheist, because they know they're going to get, slaughtered by legitimate questions. They just want to drop their balderdash on people that they can verbally bamboozle.
So I wanted to run something by you guys, and you tell me if I was thinking about this earlier today. I want to see if you guys say whether my thinking on this was right or not. Um, I've heard atheists, they'll say that when you're talking about laws of logic, math or anything like this, that it is something that exists in the mind. It's a concept, but that's the only place it exists. And that the mind is the source of it, and constructs it, and that's
Yeah.
where it
Well,
exists, right?
let's put it
And
this way. Yeah, let's put it this way. The universal laws of logic as universal absolute abstractions, what it is abstracting is each particular concrete state of particulars, that each discrete state of affairs or particular in and of itself conforms to the principle of identity and non-contradiction, right? That's universalized, so that's why it's abstract. It doesn't mean that what is being abstracted doesn't include a set of concrete particulars.
gotcha. Well, here's what I was going to say, that if that's the case, if it's created in a person's mind, and that's the only place that exists, and it's not from something external to themselves,
No,
then that would mean,
no, we're saying the unification of the nature of each concrete particular. The unification takes place in the mind when we're speaking from a human perspective. But from God's perspective, He's the concrete one that imposes the universality of each of the particulars.
right. I guess what I'm doing an internal critique of what they're saying.
because it would seem to me that if what they're saying is true, then no two persons can actually have the same laws of logic, because it's something that's created individually in each person's mind as opposed to being derived from something outside of themselves.
The best that they can attempt to do is to say that the laws of logic are, how shall I put it? What's the word I'm looking for? Um,
You're not.
indubitable.
Um,
That in order to reject or doubt them, you would have to affirm them.
I like how Ty brought that up and you answered that, Darth, because I was looking into this um, maybe a few days ago or something like that, where it's like if it happens in a mind, how do you unite all these mental um, um, let's say reasons, right? Or a- all these different mental abstractions of all these mental uh, I don't know the right words. So does it happen in the mind of man? Like does it? So I like how you answered it, Doris, and Ty
If
brought that.
if if God isn't concretely unifying all of the particulars by the power of His will, but the unification only takes conceptually within the mind of individuals. The human mind doesn't impose ontological states on all these particulars. So the unification from the human point is simply abstract. But with God, He is the concrete universal. He's the one who concretely imposes on each and every particular universally that it's reflective of His being. Okay, so that's why that there can't be any particular or discrete states of affairs that are inconsistent with the principle of identity and non-contradiction.
Yeah, it's funny how we
So
just
all yeah, they have no concrete universal to appeal to that imposes the principle of identity and non-contradiction, or for that matter, the principle of identity over time. There's no concrete universal for them to appeal to. So all they've got is an abstract unity.
yes.
Darth, I found the link and I pinned it there. And you should listen to the whole thing. Maybe you should even do a commentary on it here. It's just a
Oh, I will.
complete load of ignorant conjecture by Lawrence Krauss. And at the 7-minute
Yeah.
mark, he says that I believe he says the multiverse is eternal or something like that, something along those
Yeah,
lines.
Greg Bahnsen stated 80% of what you're going to deal with, 80% of what you're going to deal with is either ignorant. No, what was it? Prejudicial
Prejudicial.
conjecture, prejudicial conjecture, or arbitrariness. Yeah, I just loaded that onto my YouTube. I'll watch that later.
I prefer to say that it's prejudicial conjecture or prejudicial speculation and ignorant conjecture because I think it just hits a little harder
Well, I
when you
can't wait
phrase
to
it that way.
listen to it because I asked Lawrence Krauss, what is it that is singularly fundamental and foundational that dictates all instances of what is, can be, and cannot be? And his answer was, I don't know.
No,
You
you,
see,
you should
but when
listen
you,
to it live. You're going to be pausing it like every second. Like there's not a
okay,
thing that comes
well,
out of this man's mouth that isn't
we can do
speculation.
this. I don't want to do it now, but we can do this tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
amazing. And almost every word he says, every sentence he says is just chock full of pure conjecture that he could not possibly
Yeah.
know.
Well, this is what they do. When they're in a friendly audience, they let their guard down, right?
Yeah, when you have someone like Joe Rogan who's going to sit there with a dumb look on his face and lick it up like a
Yeah.
dog, you know,
Yeah.
licking water out of a bowl.
When Lawrence Krauss knew that I was asking a question that was very simple and it was clear, circumspect, he knew that he didn't have one of his pre-formatted little miniature community college lectures that he could bamboozle us with.
Well,
So,
I think it was
and
even before the question. I think when he realized that you weren't someone who was going to stand there with a sort of slack-jawed look of adoration, as if he was some
a
sort of
look of
high priest.
a look of awe,
Yeah,
starstruck.
like he was actually going to be in for an interrogation or questioning at
Yeah,
the very least, right?
yeah.
Don't you
Well,
know it's
thank you for the link.
inappropriate to
Yeah.
question a
Go
high
ahead.
priest of science?
The high priest of science. Yeah, I know.
These aren't mortal men.
They can leap tall buildings in a single bound. They're
The,
faster than a speeding bullet.
these aren't men
Look,
who will sit on
it's a bird. It's a plane. It's men of science.
these aren't men who will sit on a podcast and just spew fictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing they'll be arbitrary, and like it's it, it's it's so true what Bonson says, and actually they'll just be and it's like they'll do like with the work of Plato and it'll and the word of God, like we have manuscripts, like but like the Plato is like it's not even
Oh.
there's no original, it's like copy of, and it's just weird. It's
By
yeah,
the
they'll just
way,
yeah.
Parakeet, yesterday the new iPhone 14 came out, and the new AirPod Pros version 2 came out. So I just thought you would like to hear that.
Hey, you just like to torture him with that, don't you?
No, I can't wait till my AirPods die, so I can get the new AirPods too.
How long have you had the current set?
Oh, gee, I would probably say year and a half to 2 years. I use them constantly every single day. I listen to you know YouTube videos, podcasts, Clubhouse. When I'm doing stuff, working. I'm just constantly listening to stuff. But I only have one in one ear at a time. So when the battery goes after a couple of hours in one of them, I just pop the other one in. But the nice thing
Well,
about the battery pack on this thing is, and I'll just drop this because I know Mr. Paraduper is going to have, going to apoplexy.
no, I was going to say, why don't you marry him if you love him so much, huh? Why don't you get a second pair instead of having just one in at a
Yeah,
time?
you're just hurtful. You're just a hurtful person. No, I would marry them, but they're so easy to lose, and if I lost them, I'd be heartbroken. So, and they are. And by the way, if anyone's thinking about getting them, they are easy to lose. So you have to be vigilant and be very careful with them.
What do you
Otherwise, get some cheap crap.
what do you have for Apple Care coverage?
I have it for my laptop, but not for that.
Yeah, because at this point, I mean, you're gonna have to keep them intact because you would just have limited warranty, and you've already passed the limited warranty period.
Yeah, it's just it's just I'm careful with my stuff like that. I've only misplaced it once, um, so it's like, do I really need to get it for that item? So okay, it's Endgame against Witch Doctor. I like both of these bots, but I'm gonna go with Endgame now. But anybody could win.
Is that
and Endgame just flipped a 200-pound bot all the way 20 feet in the air.
God was saying he didn't want an echo chamber, but they just come in here and lie and do more trolling tactics, and we got to get rid of them.
Look, all you have
So
to
in
do
other
is just
words, he's
don't
saying,
lie.
so in other words, we got to put up with their lies and trolling just so it doesn't look like an echo chamber.
You know, it's not because we're, the creepy atheists who hang out together and slap each other back, with their convoluted reasoning and their perverted thinking, you know, and their weirdness and creepiness. We welcome with warm arms the adult-minded, intelligent atheists, but they're hard to find. They're like hen's teeth. End game one.
Mm.
Are there any rational atheists still left in the audience?
Well, since they want to say it's an echo chamber, anybody want to make any comments about the late Queen?
I
She
didn't
said
really
she was the
know.
longest serving monarch. How long did she serve?
Oh, 70 years, I think.
Oh, was that long, huh?
Yeah, pretty long.
I was surprised that happened. Honestly, I woke up. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, look, I mean, just like anyone, I hope they are repentant and saved before they die. But beyond that, I just don't really care.
Well, I don't care about the monarchy either, but it is an interesting news tidbit.
I mean, for crying out loud, like, what is the big deal with the queen anyway?
Well, they've decided, to keep the monarchy. It's their thing.
Oh, what is that? I know. I I I read something about it in a uh, title, but I don't know what do they mean. Monarchy, like
I just
returning.
can't wait. I just can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Charles the King. He's a global warming freak.
Is he supposed to like succeed her or something?
Oh yeah, he's next in line. Now, technically, he could decline it, and it could go to William, but I can't imagine that he would decline it.
You know, Adam, I was thinking we should do another Star Wars episode. Seriously, I mean, it's a fictional universe. I'm just not sure how much material there is to test. I find your lack of faith upsetting. I mean, disturbing. Okay, well, are you being your old age because we can get started into some other stuff?
What was the queen's views on things? Did she really voice them?
That No, actually, she didn't. The Queen, for quite some time, even before my time, was very pun intended, about her political views. But we know Charles is a liberal. Um, William clearly is a liberal. Harry's a nut job. So
Dude, we've got an entirely new episode of this just from Star Wars again.
That's quite a thing to do. To go 70 years without revealing your political views
Yes, that is. Yeah, we have a whole thing.
publicly, anyways.
Yeah, there's been a lot of scandals in the royal family. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when Harry had one scandal after another. Love to hear the Queen. That Harry, he's the gift that keeps on giving.
I never looked into how their system of governance and their parliament works. I mean, is she like obviously
She
she's
she she's the head of state, but she's not the head of the government.
right?
Okay, so she mostly has kind of like ceremonial powers. The prime minister is kind of like our presidency, and of course, parliament is similar to Congress.
It's like lying is like pretty much necessary to be an atheist, lest they expose the
Well,
futility of their
yeah,
system.
yeah. Well, it says they knew God and did not want to acknowledge Him, and they turned. So the suppression of the truth and the righteousness is a form of self-deception. I always love it though when they put it in their profile or they just mock it that they mock that they're suppressing the truth and the righteousness. See, the proof of the pudding is that when we go through their atheist cliched lines of reasoning and they all implode, right? Then what they're left with is arbitrariness behind their not God world. But if it's truly arbitrary, then they could arbitrarily accept the God world, but they refuse to do it. So their non acceptance of the God world is neither rationally based nor is it arbitrary. So the only thing we have left is that they're suppressing the truth and the righteousness. They're actively involved in resistant non belief.
Yeah,
That's another
sadly,
thing I noticed that you've been laying out, like resistant non-belief versus non-belief.
Well,
Resistant
I
non-belief
have to
versus
give
not
credit
resistant.
for, yeah, I have to give the credit to the wording to Matt Adams for that. But the concept goes to back to Romans 1 in Scripture.
I didn't even know Matt Adams said that. Resistant non-belief versus non-resistant non-belief.
Yeah. So if I tell you that there are nuggets of gold on Mars, you would be in a state of unbelief, but your unbelief would not be the product of the fact that you were resistant to it, that you didn't want it to be the case. So that you
Yeah.
would resistant non-belief would be then your mind through a process of confirmation bias, you know, drawing, whatever cliched type of thinking as to why you don't believe.
interesting.
This is why when you question them in a presuppositional way, they are either going to have to admit that they're giving the double middle fingers to the God of the Bible, and or embrace chaos, but they don't want to embrace chaos, so they just lie, they prevaricate, they
You,
obfuscate.
you know something? In spite of the denominational differences in Christians, the Christians have in Christianity, you can get a consistent answer from Christians who create the world, God. You can get a consistent answer from us. But when you're talking to atheists, you get all sorts of ridiculous answers like reality, space time, quantum fluctuation. They give all sorts of different answers. A lot of it is just variations of the same garbage, but you can't get
I
any
know.
sort of consistent answers from these clowns at all.
Well, the null hypotheist. where he says there's just one universe and it's revealed itself to him.
Space.
But then when I ask him what lies behind the visible, you know, horizon on the universe, he doesn't know. Are we in
Yeah.
one universe and there could be another universe? Right?
Yeah, it's funny, Darth. Yeah.
Since he
No,
doesn't know, if he doesn't know that our universe is singular, he doesn't know because he doesn't know what lies behind the visible universe. So it's clear he's lying when he says all there is this singular universe. See, the idea is he's imagining the universe as concretely unified by, quote, space-time. And everything that is contained within that, spectrum, right? And
yeah.
that let's say that the visible universe is beyond the horizon, if you will, is twice as big as what we imagine to be the distance from here to the outer limits of what we can visibly see, right? That's how he imagines it. But that's presupposing that we're just in one universe. What if it's the case that we're in one universe and there's another universe?
Yeah.
The guy's clear. The guy's clearly lying, and I don't understand why he persists and do this. I mean, we're not ninth graders. We're not gullible.
Yeah, Darth, because I just Google space and time, and yeah, he doesn't know that, hypothesis. He's just saying whatever that just it doesn't make sense, or he'll just say whatever doesn't make sense.
You
And when
know,
you challenge,
time
I,
space as Einstein maintained it, right, is it's just a placeholder, right?
This idiot literally says space time is concrete.
yeah,
Um, well, that's well, what I can ask him. What's time? What is time? If you go to the dictionary, time is the indefinite progress of events. Okay.
yeah,
But if events and change or whatnot, that's abstract. There's no concrete. There's nothing concrete there.
Space has to do with a coordinate system. Okay. Right. And a coordinate system is also itself a kind of abstraction.
yeah. It's like when he says
You
space and
know,
time,
well,
like
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things within science where they employ abstractions, right? And but they'll reify these things.
like yeah, it's like it's so it's yeah, no hypothesis is just incoherent.
Yeah. No. It's worse than that. He's a liar.
Oh yeah, like space and time, like based on um what I've learned just so far a little bit is like dimensions, and then where and the events occur. So
You see, look. It's like this. What he's saying is all the stuff within the abstraction of the universe are contiguous in some way and in some sense, so that they would be concretely unified. How does he know they're contiguous concretely? Okay.
I've heard of continuous, but what does contiguous mean?
Okay. If you take a look at the 50 states, Alaska and Hawaii are not contiguous. All the rest of the states are interconnected.
Oh,
So
you're saying there's a consistent link, and then you can drive
contiguous
interstate.
means they're connected to one another. So
Right.
there's a contiguous relationship. So, for example, let's
They're
say,
talking about the same country with Alaska or Hawaii, but it's not contiguous. I got you.
right. All the lower 48 are They're contiguous, but Alaska and Hawaii are not contiguous. What if
Correct.
what if it's the case that within the set of all real things, we have two different groups that are not contiguous? But you see, he doesn't know that, right? But he knows the universe revealed that there's a concrete unity. So what he's actually conveying is a kind of contiguousness. But he doesn't know that, because I asked him what lies behind the visible edge of the universe in all directions. Well, I don't know. If you don't know, then it's not necessarily what lies beyond that might not be contiguous.
Oh, you're just saying there could be a separate universe, thus not having a contiguous.
Whatever. It could be
Yeah.
something that's just not contiguous in terms of whatever he wants space and time to be.
But whether it's a universe or something else, it's
Right.
just not.
It's
It's
just
just
look.
not within this. Yeah.
It's just that, decade after decade of going to school and watching documentaries and TV on, people have been indoctrinated into this view that the universe is concrete rather than an abstract reference to a set of concrete particulars, and because they're reifying this abstract term, the universe, they're thinking of it that it's concrete, and therefore because it's concrete, they then think it's contiguous.
Right.
Darth, when somebody says that they don't believe morality actually exists, how do you go about debunking that and showing that they actually
Then
believe it?
what you need to do is kick them in the shin, spit in their face, and take their wallet. And then when they don't complain, you can say, "Yeah, I guess you're right."
The fact is, they don't live that way. When they say that
They
garbage,
don't live that way. Yeah,
yeah.
they don't live that way.
So that's yet another form of lying that they do, another form of deception.
I think it was Darth Arianis last week or so came in about the same time Jay Mike did, and you caught him
Yeah,
lying.
you're really weak, man. You're very weak.
Yep.
All right, I'll step out. Come back.
And while we're waiting,
Come back.
yeah, I wouldn't take him too seriously. He's a Thalasso wonk wannabe, but he's nothing but a punk. He actually engages in stalking on Clubhouse. He's
He
engaged in
admitted
stalking.
it.
First he lied, right? And then he had to admit, after he
It's
was
like, what's wrong
exposed
with
as
that?
a liar. Yeah. So, he sits there like he's a little philosophical genius trying to impress everybody with the
Yeah.
depth and breadth of his philosophical knowledge, but he's just a little scumbag of a teenage mind who stalks and harasses and lies. He just outright lies. We're not talking about a practical joke here. I have no problem with practical jokes, okay? But when you just outright lie about stalking and harassing, right? Then we call it for what it is, and that's what he is.
He's
And
philosophy.
I've attempted to interact with him in the past, and it doesn't take him long before he becomes over the top obnoxious, because he knows that he can't bamboozle me with his philosophy speak and his well practiced segueing onto extraneous rabbit trails.
Yeah, give me a
He
break.
calls himself Darth Arrhenius. We should call him Darth Extraneous.
Dark extraneous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look, and anybody who cohabits, on Clubhouse with Angstrike and those other groupies, I mean, these people are creepy, right? If they were really as smart as they think they are and that they pretend to be, they wouldn't have to resort to all this kind of philosophical, philosoph speak and double talk.
it's just enough
Just
for
remember,
free.
just remember, they're versed enough in philosophical nomenclature and ideology that they can use it as a tool to constantly rabbit trail. That's why when I tell other apologists, not that I've practiced it myself as sharply as I could do or could, you have to focus on what your questions are and don't allow them to give you deceptive or evasive answers.
Yeah, it's like like give me a break. Like he's just being a sophist, you know. It's just like sophistry, you know, and just that's it. It's just sophistry. Ask questions, you know. Act you're very philosophical. Ask question, ask. That's it. That's the game, you know. Until you actually challenge them, and then they'll say, "Oh, are you saying this?" Like that's just another ploy to be to ploy more sophistry on you, you know. And it's like when you don't challenge them, like, you don't see it, call them out, they're gonna keep doing it. It's just, you know, yeah. It's not honest. It's not from an honest, um, genuine heart. It's more of this. It's a deceitful, uh, bamboozle sophistry. It's not, and this is why when like Darth Dawkins, like those Panic Strike groupies, I don't take them seriously. And it's like this, they're not even human. It's kind of like they are human, like
Yeah.
created an image of God, but they
Well,
don't.
I
It's
know,
just
I know, yeah, I know I need to be more patient, but I'm tired. I'm just sick of the nonstop lying. Okay.
it's yeah. You're like, why you gotta lie? Like, come on, like, don't you respect the social what do you call it?
Social
Social
contract.
interaction between people, like, but they don't, and that's what's scary because they just uh they
The thing is, man, if you hear a lie every once in a while, then yeah, that could take you off. But that's one thing. But when you hear a stream of lies, one after another, multiple times, that wow, that's literally what we dealt with tonight. It's just one atheist after another, just straight line.
Yeah, remember that last guy that we had? You know, he started off cordial and pretending like he didn't understand. How long did it take for him to resort to evasion and deception and playing dumb?
Not long at all.
No, it didn't. But he started off like he was sincere. Remember that?
It's usually how it happens.
Yeah.
it if you don't know. Okay, if you don't know, just ask the question. Don't say I know and then you don't know. Just don't play that game. Like just like I don't get it because it's not gonna help you more. It's just gonna be like, and then you're gonna ask the question. I don't get it. I like just be honest. Just don't lie. Just between
So
two.
so so if you see that clown again, um, what's his name? No Hypatheist.
Oh,
What he refers to as time space. Ask him: is the totality of what you refer to is the totality of everything? Is it contiguous? Right? And if he says yes, say, where'd you get that from? It may be a popular belief that the contiguous nature is time space, but even that's problematic.
I'll tell you
But
where he
even if
got
it
it
wasn't,
from.
even it, yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you where he got it from. Reality.
Yeah, he pieced it together through a regime of validity.
Yes, sir.
He's a Yeah. We're dealing with some regime of validity masters. They're one level up from a Sith Lord.
you said continuous. Sorry, continuous.
Contiguous.
Oh,
Contiguous.
cog. Oh man, I
Look, you
wrote
know
that.
how every state touches each other by a geographical border.
Okay, geographical states. Okay.
Alaska is contiguous with Canada, right? but it's not contiguous with the lower 48 states.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch the replay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better now, or is it still really weak?
It's
It's still low, man.
it sounds like you're almost somebody put you in the trunk of the car.
Sound muffled.
I have no idea.
Help!
All right.
Help!
So if I speak louder, is that any better?
That
A
does
little
help a
bit.
little. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like you're still muffled. Like you can speak louder, but it's like still very.
Just do your best. Okay, we'll just try.
Now I can't remember what I was asking.
If he was, hey Ty, if you were attempting to speak, we can't hear you at all. I think what we dealt with tonight is just a clear cut case that we need to always remember that this is not a flesh and blood battle. This is spiritual.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a spiritual issue. This is this is not a disputation about intellectual disagreement. It's not it at all. And we have very supportive evidence because they so chronically engage in deception. Look, when I asked P.Z. Myers, how is it there is no God? He outright denied that he was denying God. And then he tried to bait and switch. But previously, going back even to like 2009 or 2008, he wrote an article on Thanksgiving pretty much declaring God doesn't exist. And then shortly after my questioning him, he outright denied God's existence. They talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Yeah, like Darth. It's like just unbelievers. It's like they just don't want to be challenged. They don't want to get. Uh,
No, no,
they
no,
don't.
no, no. They do want to be challenged, but
Okay.
they want to get away by be engaging in
Oh,
deception.
yeah. Don't want to be.
You'll ask him, yeah. If I'll say, is something black or not black? You go, well, maybe, could be.
And we got that whole lot. These maybes, could be's, people not focusing on simple, straightforward questions. Like, do you people hear? Do you people listen? There's a clear question asked to you. Did you
Look,
listen and follow it
if
up
you
with an
say to
actual
me,
answer?
yeah, yeah, if you say to me, do you believe right now there's a black bear out your window? All right. And I said, well, there could be. It's not an answer to the question. Possible. It's not an answer to the question. The issue is, no, I don't believe there's a black bear outside my window. But if for some reason some new information comes along, I'll change my mind whether there's a black bear outside my window.
They don't want their position to be. How should I say?
Okay, so
Uh,
so for
Bigotry. There you go.
for all I just want to say for all you Darth Dawkins haters out there, who think Darth Dawkins is a racist. Darth Dawkins wants to announce that he wants you all to go to see the Woman King. It's a new movie about a black woman in Africa. So there you go. I'm not racist.
Mm, no. No, it's where can we find the intelligent atheists? Like, come on, like, give
Yeah.
us. We don't need no more sophistry, and that's oh my god, it's so.
I'm surprised they haven't used audio clips where I have been asked by Brojo if I saw Black Panther and said, no, I've never seen it, that they didn't use that as evidence that I'm a racist.
Of course.
Yeah.
I actually had an atheist call me a racial slur tonight.
A race?
Yeah,
Well,
that actually happened. And then some other atheist was like using a racial
was it what
slur.
was it one of the usual suspects?
He called himself conservative atheist.
Oh,
Well, you just simply say, is that supposed to offend me? Am I supposed to be shocked?
I mean, I wasn't shocked. I just removed him because he was a scumbag.
Good.
I know what's with the whole
And then
race.
another one came up in here in a text chat saying using racial slurs isn't necessarily a slur. And now I invited him up here and I asked him, dude, he called me the N word directly. Is that not a racial slur he used right there?
Yeah.
He says no. And then I had to remove him too. And I
By
blocked
the
his
way,
account.
by the way, we need to make pause for a commercial interruption. This is a
Hmm.
public service announcement from James is Tired.
Oh,
James is Tired is currently doing fundraising, and he's aligning himself with the atheists and fully supporting Tom Rabbit against that evil monster Darth Dawkins. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement.
yeah. Why would he support someone that would make lies and say horrendous things about you, dog? I mean, look, it's
It's
like,
very simple.
yeah,
It's probably a technical term that you've never heard before. So, do you have a pen or paper with you?
yep,
Otherwise, memorize it and then write it down.
I
Okay.
got, I got my paper
Ready?
pen.
Okay. Okay. Because he's a dope.
Uh, heard that word before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you say that one more time for me, so I can write that down?
DOPE.
Like marijuana.
Uh, only in
Just
it's
kidding.
only as a just the representative token, but not in content. But Darth Dawkins, he, Darth Dawkins, he forced my hand,
Was
he
that the
forced my
guy
hand.
who had a very tenuous list of things you said that he was interpreting as racist? Is that guy?
Yeah, James is tired. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, I
same
listened to
guy.
that episode.
What'd you think? I listened to it too, and I didn't see anything. It was embarrassing on his part, in my opinion.
I'm surprised he didn't say that he had heard you in the past say okay. And when okay is done as a hand symbol, some people suppose that it is some sort of racist hand symbol. And so that's further evidence that you're racist because you've used the word okay.
Well, I just want you to know that James is tired, fully supports the work of Tom Rabbit because it's advancing Christianity. That's
What?
exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said.
Honestly, I would not have expected this
Now,
coming
it
from.
doesn't get any, look, it doesn't get any more dopey than that. Okay. Right. And he got blocked by me because he kept on showing up in rooms that I'm in. And then he would pop into the audience. And at least the most recent instance, he showed up into the stage and said something in order to taunt me. Okay, to react. Okay,
Darth, like,
so
yeah.
I blocked him. Okay, now he's going. I'm going to have everyone. I'm going to have all my friends. We're going to block Darth Dawkins.
You know, the first time I've heard, I interacted with James's tie. He would say, "Oh, I shouldn't do this to you as a brother in Christ," and then he went to do like what he said that he wasn't. We, uh, Christians shouldn't do to
No,
each other. He and did that to you.
he's trying to get street cred among the atheists because he's constantly cohabiting with them. You know, did he speak with me privately? Okay. Did he go over? Did he actually review the context of these things? No. All he did was he had a list that he got from Tom Rabbit. Okay.
And the sad thing about it, Dot, he didn't even apologize. Because I know some Christians, and you know too, that we and others
Oh,
know
no,
that
oh, he
that
hasn't. No, he's doubled and tripled down
yeah.
on it. He's doing a whole theatrical routine now. You know, he Darth Dawkins. He forced my hand. You know, he forced me.
Yeah, I don't appreciate what James like we know one mutual person that would say things about you, and he apologized and did privately talk to you, and I commend that brother. But James is tired. He can't even apologize or and go along with them to do. It's just, yeah, it's just sad to see. It really is.
You know, ordinarily I would drop it if he, did this, but he's not dropping it. He's continuing to cohabitate with the atheists, you know, and slander and defame. So, well, what goes around comes around, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I like how you try to work it out too. And if you have another issue with another brother, then you work it out privately and talk about it privately, and we don't see that with James's side. We don't see that stuff. We just see uh not apologize, just keep saying, "Oh, you're racist," and just
Look,
it's
when somebody cohabitates with the atheists like he does, like, it speaks for itself. It doesn't need any commentary. It doesn't get any more creepy and dopier than that.
I just it's like you just want to say, just apologize, just dude, come on, like man, I just yeah.
All right, I'll be back.